Hello, hello. Lee Ann Schweitzer here, and I show free thinkers how to launch a successful and profitable online business. And I am so excited to have this conversation with you around this idea of like if you think that I have changed, and I just want to give you certainty that yes, I have changed, and change is the only constant, right? If you aren't changing, if you aren't growing, you're dead, in my opinion, right? And a lot of people are the walking dead. And yes, that sounds like a really hard truth to hear, but I am here to be a truth speaker, right? To say the things that you need to hear, not what you want to hear, right? For my entire life, right? For literally my entire life, I have been a people pleaser. I have been constantly saying yes, even if it make me uncomfortable, even if it inconvenienced me, and I'm ready to change the narrative, right? To really change the narrative and put myself first, right? And recognizing that saying no to somebody else is saying yes to yourself, and it is so important to put yourself first, right? Self love is the number one thing in my opinion, especially as a parent, as a mom, right? It is so important to fill up, even if you're not a mom, it's just so important to fill up your own cup, right? In order to be able to fill up those cups of those all around you, right? And so change is the only constant. And so, yes, I have changed. Oh my gosh, I have changed so much, most specifically in the last 12 to 14 months or so. Like a lot has changed in my life, right? So if you knew me previously, right? If you knew me way back in high school and whatnot, right? I'm a completely different person from that day and age. And then, college, oh my gosh, college was one of the low points in my life where I just went through a lot of shifts and changes. And it was one of the most difficult, most challenging times in my life. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, in my opinion, right? I struggled with eating disorders and just morphed perception of my body, my vessel. I just had a really different perspective on health and nutrition and food. And I didn't know, right? You don't know what you don't know, right? And so then I went on this beautiful journey of unbecoming, right? So often we think that the journey is about who we become. And yes, it is about the person that you become along the way, but we also have to remember that in the becoming is also the unlearning, right? The unlearning of things that maybe that aren't serving you anymore. And maybe they served you at one point in your life, right? And you say, thank you. Thank you for showing me the lesson. Thank you for showing me the purpose. And we move on, right? And so that's the beautiful thing about our lives, right? Is that we cannot change the past. I repeat, we cannot change the past. We cannot change the past. But what we can do is change the meaning around the past experiences, whatever it meant to you previously. You can change what it means in this moment, right here, right now. And so that's what I've done. That's what I'm able to do with a lot of the challenges and difficulties is in my life. Is I've been able to recognize that even though it feels like, oh my gosh, I know those moments when it feels like life is happening to you and it's just like dagger after dagger, and you're like, oh my gosh, universe, when can I catch a break, right? It just keeps happening continuously over and over and over again. And so when you are able to take a look back, like get through the challenging times, and then, in those moments, right, really reflect back on those challenging times. And that is where the growth comes, is when you can really change the meaning behind it, right? Recognize that life is happening for us and not to us, right? When you take that walk down memory lane and you reassign, when you give it a new meaning, right, you are forgiving yourself. And that is the most important part, is forgiving yourself, right? So often, especially as a yoga teacher, right, we're always telling you like, let it go, let it go. And they're saying that in Frozen, in Lila's favorite movie, let it go, let it go, let it go, right? And that's really one of the key pieces that we need to recognize, right, is that we don't get attached to these things and attached to the meanings. We've got to release, right? We've got to let go in order to create space for new and incredible things that are attracting, that we are magnetizing into our life, right? So for example, right, when you look at me, right, I am not the same person that I was a year ago, right? When I look back, a little over a year ago, right, I was a health coach, right, telling people about vegetarian and veganism and showing them all about like plant-based lifestyles. And it was an incredible journey. And I am so grateful for that because it helped me to step into the most healthy and nutritious version of myself. Yes, the most nutritious version of myself. Because I feel the best that I've ever felt in my entire life. And most people have no idea how good their bodies are designed to feel, right? They're just unconscious to all of the things around, right? And just living, a lot of people, myself included, right? A previous version of myself was walking around unconscious, just not even knowing, not understanding what I was putting in my mouth and how important it is to be conscious about the things that you are putting into your mouth. Not only that you're putting into your mouth, the things that you are watching, whether it's TV, if you're watching the news, right? It is so important to be conscious of the things that you are consuming through all five of your senses, right? It is so, so important. And so, one of the big things that I changed over the last year, right? I had this identity of being a vegetarian slash vegan, right? And so, we have been trying for Lila's sibling for a couple of years now, and it's been a really difficult, challenging journey. But I just know that this is my journey, and I'm trusting in my journey. And so I went to go speak to a naturopathic doctor, and she did tests, and my iron was low. And so for over a year, I was taking iron supplements. And then one day, she did a lot of research on just like fertility and different things. And one of the top fertility doctors in the nation recommends the carnivore diet. And so I'm sure she's probably like, oh my gosh, how am I going to tell this vegetarian vegan? Like literally in February of this year, like just a short 6 months ago, I actually was raw vegan, like the most extreme veganist of all the vegans. I was so intentional about every single thing that I put in my body for 30 days. Like I really focused on eating raw fruits, raw vegetables, nuts, seeds, and I felt great. I felt amazing. And there's another way. There's another way. And so Dr. Krisha, she slowly introduced me to this idea of incorporating red meat into my diet, and that it might be the missing piece. And at that point in my journey, I didn't want to have to, go and invest in IVF and all of the things that come with doing that, right? I really wanted to do it as holistically as possible. And so I had a lot of resistance when she first told me about it. We actually met multiple times for a couple of hours, and she's just sharing with me more and more about this. And then finally, it was actually, I know the exact date. It was the week before Roger and I's 11th wedding anniversary, May 18th, 2023. And I'm like, Roger, do you want to go to a steakhouse for our wedding anniversary? And he just kind of looks at me like, who in the F are you? Like, what are you gonna do? Eat a salad at the steakhouse? And I'm like, I'm gonna try meat for the first time in my pretty much whole entire adult life, right? A little bit background of my story. I was about 15 years old when my brother's 10 years older than me. And so he moved to New York City and he was living there, and he ate meat, and he got food poisoning from meat. And so in that moment, he decided that he was going to become a vegetarian. And I, just like my brother, I was like, okay, I'm going to instill these habits as well too. And so for the majority of my adulthood, I swayed between vegetarian and veganism and all of the different things and different aspects that came around with that, because I felt really good. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing this because because I feel really good. And I didn't realize how freaking good meat is. Oh my gosh. So we actually just got a meat share from North 44 Farm, right? So I went to the farmers market this summer, and I spoke to a lot of the different farmers that were at the farmers market who raise these animals like humanely. Like, oh my gosh, the farm that we actually decided to place our share with, she is also a mama. She just had a baby, a newborn, and she's an incredible human being. And she really believes in the regenerativeness of animals and eating them. And I get it now, right? I didn't get it before, and you don't get it until you get it. And now I'm eating meat every single day, and I feel great. I'm intentional about the meat. I'm not just going to Safeway or Hannaford or whatever, and just like buying like meat with, again, it's being intentional and looking at the ingredients. If it's processed, right? What's processed with? What are those like long, long words that you can't even understand, right? It's being intentional about the food that you are eating. I do my very best to only eat, I do my very best to only eat one ingredient foods and to not eat cane sugar. It is really hard. Cane sugar is literally in everything. But I really want to give you this different perspective in that cane sugar, this is a hard truth for you to hear, but cane sugar is like heroin. Like, this is an addictive drug. It is in almost everything out there, and it is making people crazy. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Like, we don't really eat cane sugar hardly ever. Every once in a while, right? So last weekend we went on a camping trip, and Lila loves roasting marshmallows on the fire. And we haven't been able to have fires over the last couple of months, right? Because there's been a high fire danger. And last weekend the fire danger was moderate. It was like on the very low end. There was no fire bans, so we were able to have a fire. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get some marshmallows for this trip. And she had some marshmallows, and she was freaking bat crazy after that. I love her so much, and she was just like, oh my gosh, this is just like it was another version of her. Anyway, this is just like, we don't realize it, right? We really don't realize it. You don't know what you don't know. And so as Halloween is coming around, I really, 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 I would encourage you to become become do with intention and purpose, with the Halloween candy, right? Look at the stuff that you are giving your children, and just, I would just encourage you to take a second guess, right? Is this actually something that I really truly believe in, that I want to be giving to my kids? Or is this like a freaking is this like a freaking crazy drug? So anyway, you take that knowledge and make a conscious decision for yourself, because that is one thing that I am really, really freaking conscious about, is the way that I eat and the things that I'm putting in my body. And another thing that is rapidly, like, oh my gosh, so much has shifted. I was actually having a conversation with a friend the other day who's only known me for a couple of weeks, and I was telling her how I used to be a really, really angry person, and I got it from, I love my dad so much, but he had anger, stuff, and he got hit from his dad. And I was, talking to him when I went back home, and he's saying how his brothers and sisters, love them so much, and they also, it's just a piece of us, right? And so I used to be a really angry person too. Like, I would just constantly react. And then I found meditation, and I just say that meditation changed my life. It allowed me to shift from this place of react, taking a deep breath in and a big breath out, and maybe 3 more if that's what you need, maybe 10 more, whatever it is. But just coming back into the breath is the key into the present moment, right? There's these 2 states, right? Fear and love, and you cannot coexist in these 2 states, right? And so breath, fear is excitement without breath. And so taking a deep breath in will help you transition from reacting to responding. And it has absolutely changed my life. And yeah, it's an incredible and amazing resource. And I love being able, that's what I love teaching yoga and meditation so much. I love being able to share these beautiful healing modalities that have absolutely changed my life, right? Another thing that has absolutely shifted in my world is my beliefs around money and success, right? I grew up In the middle class. I grew up, I had an amazing life growing up. I have no complaints about my life growing up. I was just instilled with these beliefs that I really had to challenge as I got older, right? You hear people saying like, oh, they don't have the money, or it's too expensive, or, money doesn't grow on trees, or all of these different things. And as I'm learning, or maybe as I'm unlearning these beliefs, and that's what it is. It's taking these beliefs and saying, is this actually what I believe, or is this what somebody told me to believe and I believed it, and now it's maybe not for me anymore, and so I need to become conscious, once again, become conscious, and make the choice to change, right? It's that simple. It's not easy, but it is that simple, right? And so changing your beliefs around money and success, right? Money is an unlimited resource and it's always flowing my way, right? Whatever it is, allowing yourself to shift into that new reality, right? And so again, the first step is awareness and recognizing, and then you've got to do the healing. You've got to do the inner work, right? For me, breath work was a huge tool on my journey to help me move through those old limiting beliefs that weren't serving me anymore, and do the internal healing around the trauma that was literally in my body around money and success, right? And so I really had to fully heal from all of those things in order to step into that next level version of myself, right? And so, ground summary of it all, if you think I've changed, yes, I have. I took a different direction by stepping way outside of my comfort zone, courageously and scared at the same time, right? Feel the fear and do it anyway. I am staying away from the mediocrity. I am changing the story of living paycheck to paycheck. I am encouraging you to move from survival to thrival. You are worthy. You just have to believe that you are worthy. From living on a budgeted and boring life, right? We weren't put on this planet to just pay bills and die, right? We were put on this planet, each one of us, for a purpose, right? A purpose that is way bigger than ourselves, right? And so just really recognizing and stepping into that next level version of you. It's not, again, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but it is so worth it. The best advice I have for you is to lock arms with people that have a similar vision as you, right? Stop taking advice from people that don't have the things that you desire, right? Why are you taking advice from somebody that is still an employee, trading time for money, working, when that's not the life that you want to live, right? You have a vision, a dream of doing something bigger, of having complete flexibility of your time, being able to be a stay-at-home parent, right? Our big future vision for the winter, for the next couple of months, is to be here in Bend, Oregon, and Lila wants to learn how to snowboard. And so we want to get season passes up at Bachelor, all three of us, and take Lila up to the mountain, take her snowboarding 4 to 5 days a week, and just get her on the hill. This has literally been my dream, is to have my own little snowboarding crew. And I'm just so excited that Lila's finally on board. She wants to join us and do it. And so that's what we want to do for the next couple of months, is really just get out on the mountain and snowboard as much as possible, because I don't know about you, but I love snowboarding so much. It's one of my biggest passions. I was having a conversation with somebody else this week, right, around just like snowboarding, and how it's like, oh my gosh, just imagine clouds, and imagine just like floating on the clouds. If you've ever lived in Colorado and had a champagne powder day, oh my gosh, there is nothing like it. It is absolutely incredible and life-changing. And I would highly encourage every single person to, even if you're like, you have this identity, this story of like, oh, I'm not a snowboarder, oh, I'm not a skier, oh, I don't like the outdoors, right? You get to choose. You always get to choose. Change your identity, right? That's where it all stems from, is changing your identity first. And then the behaviors, everything will come once you change your identity, right? And so I really would encourage you, if you are ready to step outside of the matrix, to step into this new paradigm, this new way of living, where you get to own your time and live more consciously, I've got a masterclass that I recorded. It explains all of the details. If you would like to catch the replay of it, put in the comments, I'm ready to change, or just send me a DM. Let's connect. I love connecting with you. I love having conversations. I'm rooting for you. I am so excited for you and your journey. And I love you so much.